Welcome back to this week's episode of Ask and...
Whoa, cut. Do something interesting. That's what you do all the time.
What should I do?
Something like this. Something like just jumping in like, whoa!
I'm 32, I don't jump like that.
Okay.
Welcome back to Ask an Astronaut, the only show where you can ask an astronaut whatever you want. I'm your host, Astronaut Tom. Joining us today is Michael from Papillion La Vista High School. Michael is in our Upward Bound program. Michael decided he wanted to learn video directing and video editing, so we brought him aboard.
Say hi to the nice people, Michael.
Hi, my name is Michael, and I'm from Papillion La Vista High School.
He's a forceful personality, very creative. I like him. He's got gumption. Thanks, Michael. Our first question comes from Otto from Toad Suck, Arkansas, which is a real place in America. Ahoy there, astronaut man. It's astronaut Tom, but I'll let that slide, I guess. You know, I don't know if I can continue. He called me I'll just roll with it. I'll roll with it. My question to you is this. Has anybody milked a cow in space? If so, did the milk not stay in the bucket and kind of squirm and curdle in the spaceship so you had to get a floaty space cat to go after it and lap it up till it was gone? Thank you for your question, Otto. That's a good question. Nobody has milked a cow in space before. If we were to milk a cow in space, we'd probably connect the udders to some kind of vacuum system, like the kind we use for human waste disposal. Your instinct is correct, though. Because of the zero gravity in space, the milk would not pour out, it would just sort of float out into little milk planets, which is kind of cute if you think about it. The only cow that we do know of in space is AT-2018 cow, a mysterious light phenomenon that happened last summer. Astronomers aren't quite sure what it is. Originally, we thought it might have been a white dwarf coming from within our Milky Way, but we discovered the object was way too bright on the light spectrum to be explainable that way. But no, it's not the kind of moo cow that you get milk from. It's a totally different thing. It's a celestial body. But thanks for your question, Otto. Our next question comes from Christina of Tacoma, Washington. Dear Astronaut Tom, if I want to be a programmer, do I need to know binary? You don't absolutely have to know binary to get started as a programmer. Binary is a system of ones and zeros that is used to encode data into bits that the machinery of the computer can understand. Now, programmers don't really write code in machine-level language. We have a higher, more abstract language that's closer to human language, like JavaScript or Python, that is then compiled down into something that the computer can understand. So it might help to know binary at some point to be the best programmer you can be, but you don't need to know it to get started, and you're probably not going to be using it all the time. For a really good explanation of the way computer languages work, check out Devon Crawford's 3 Years of Computer Science in 8 Minutes. I'll include a link in the description below. Well, that about does it for this week's episode.
Wait, Astronaut Tom, I have one last question for you.
Our director Michael has a question. Why don't you come over here, Michael? Good to see you again.
Good to see you. I just have one more question. So if I was to be bitten by a vampire bat, would I turn into a vampire or a bat?
Neither, actually. On Earth, species cannot turn into another species just by being bitten. The process of evolution is kind of a lot slower than that, and it's the result of gradual adaptations to one's environment. Also, vampires are folklore, so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I would get a rabies shot, though, because bats do carry rabies, and that's a real gruesome death. Alternate between periods of total insanity and fear of water with periods of abject depression. Kind of like DJ Pauly D does from the Jersey Shore.
Okay.
Well, that does it for this week's episode of Ask an Astronaut. Email your questions to therealastronnautttom@gmail.com, and we will get back to you in a future episode.